Mr. Hank, please share your presentation just to test that everything is working.
Okay, to go ahead and load it.
Excuse me?
Oh, to share. Oh dear, what went on there? Oh my goodness.
Hi, Hank. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, Giovanna. Hello.
Hi, Antonio. How are you? I've been having some technical difficulties this morning logging in.
Yeah, Hank, it is good. It is a good to see that the presentation. It's okay. So just a couple of minutes before beginning. Thank you everybody for joining. Buenos días a todos. En 2 minutos empezamos. Tenemos ya la presentación lista para iniciar. En 2 minutos iniciamos. Para propósitos del seminario y la agilidad, tenemos todos los micrófonos apagados y las preguntas solamente se van a realizar a través de la sección de preguntas y respuestas que aparece en Zoom, a través del chat, o las podrán enviar después a través de correo electrónico. In English, I will repeat, everybody is muted. So everybody, if they need to send a question, please use the question and answer section of the Zoom, or send it by the chat. And we will read and answer as they are coming. We will have some time to answer all the questions. Buenos días a todos. Son las 10 de la mañana y pues les damos las gracias por unirse a este seminario. Este seminario va a estar grabado y va a estar disponible en nuestra plataforma, en la sección de videos en YouTube. En nuestro canal los invitamos a que lo vean ahí posteriormente, y también si alguien quiere compartirlo, pues también habrá posibilidad de que lo puedan realizar. El día de hoy vamos a trabajar con el seminario sobre química automatizada, análisis en química automatizada para de videos muestras ambientales en nuestro canal, en este caso soportados por nuestro socio comercial OI Analytical, que pertenece a Xylem como grupo. Este seminario va a revisar las pruebas más comunes que se realizan en el análisis ambiental y la tecnología que está detrás de estos sistemas. El día de hoy nos acompaña Mr. Han Bio, que es especialista de OI y con una experiencia de más de 30 años en química analítica instrumental. Su experiencia va más allá de simplemente conocer los equipos o las técnicas, y está muy involucrado con el trabajo que se realiza ya en la aplicación y en el uso de los instrumentos y de las diferentes aplicaciones a los diferentes mercados. Este seminario está enfocado el día de hoy a análisis ambiental y a la metodología de química analítica automatizada. Muchos de los análisis que se van a contemplar el día de hoy son pues pruebas que ordinariamente se realizan en los laboratorios que analizan muestras de agua. Este seminario se va a ofrecer en inglés. Si alguien tiene alguna pregunta, pueden hacerla en español, como comentaba en los canales que les acabo de mencionar. La sección de preguntas y respuestas que aparece en la ventana de Zoom y a través del chat. Nosotros las vamos a traducir para que nos hagan favor de responderlas. El seminario tiene una duración de 1 hora y vamos a respetar esos tiempos para poderlo trabajar. So let's start. Please, Mr. Han, begin with the presentation. Thank you for your time and your knowledge that you are sharing with us. Go ahead, please.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Hello, good morning, buenos dias. And going to do a presentation today on the applications, methods, and technology for environmental analysis. And we've been doing the Outchem line. We purchased that in 1996, 97, and have a strong footprint in the environmental analysis wastewater applications. So what we'll do today is kind of go over why do environmental pollutants need to be monitored, our most common environmental pollutants, the methods to monitor the pollutants, our solution with the OI Xylem technology, and then just close out with the available methods one more time. So why do people monitor? Why do environmental laboratories do environmental testing? The commercial laboratories that mostly deal with analyze samples for profit. Municipal laboratories analyze for process control and to satisfy certain permits, and industrial facilities use that to satisfy the permits as well. And who does the testing? Well, you've got national laboratory chains, you've got independent laboratories, there's federal, state, city laboratories, industrial, petrochemical, chemical, also university research grants. That's pretty big here in the United States. That's a very good client basis because you're reaching out to students early, and once they start using instrumentation, get a feel for it, get a handle, when they move on to their professional job, they'll say, hey, I really like that OI Analytical Xylem flow solution instrument. I'm going to purchase that in my professional career now. Big also too is mining and plating. Any kind of usage where cyanide is a byproduct or so, that's tested heavily here in wastewater treatment. Also, there's USGS, USDA labs here in the United States, and former Latchet users. Latchet was a prior competitor who stopped producing a product last year. They're still supporting that product through 2025, but the nice thing about our product is the flow injection analysis, as the Latchet was on flow injection.
Han,
yes,
please, yeah, we are seeing a box in the middle of your presentation. I don't know what is happening. I don't know if something is sharded or something.
Yes, I'm sorry. What is that?
It says sharded application in the middle of the screen.
Can you see it, Hank? It's like a highlight square around it. And I think it's gone now. Oh, it's back on.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. My apologies.
Here for a little while, but then it came back.
One second. Oh my goodness. What? Okay. All right, let me try something else real quick.
There it is. It's gone now.
Okay.
My apologies. I was using a microphone, and it looks like that was the problem. Okay. So here in the United States, follow a lot of different EPA protocols with regards to the Clean Water Act, also Title 40, Protection Environment Part 136. There's also, this Part 136 is great for the pollutants and the wastewater industry. Use that quite a bit as sort of like guide of the approved methods. And then also as well, there is Part 141 that is for the drinking water. We also have here Mpds Permit program addresses water pollution by regulating point sources that discharge pollutants to the waters in the United States. That's the Mpds. And anybody who is using any kind of surface water and using it in their process and then puts it back into circulation again, they've got to treat that and then have that tested to make sure that you're putting the water back sort of like the way that you found it. And so that follows very closely with the Part 40, Title 40, Part 136 for especially with wastewater. And again, a little bit more, here's a little bit about the Mpds permits. And that also has its own Title 40, Part 122 as well for that. Uh-oh. My apologies, I'm not sure what's going on here, why it's, oh, the whole, my presentation didn't load. One moment, please. Okay, also, my apologies. Astm Committee D19, study of water, promotion of knowledge thereof and standardization of terminology methods. For the Committee of Sampling Analysis of Water, Waterborne Materials, Waste, Water Form Deposits, and Fluvial sediments. This is a very good committee that also does drinking water and wastewater. And they do a lot of the work where the methods get approved for both waste and drinking water. And recently what we've done is we've used this organization to help get us methods approved through the EPA. And by getting an ASTM approval first, you've kind of gone through all the work needed, and EPA will then write that in. So ASTM is also very good. ASTM also has a lot of very good cyanide methods as well. There's also the ISO methods that are the international standard. And we do have methodologies that follow ISO under cyanide methods as well. There's also MBAS and some other ones that follow ISO certification. And here they are. There's cyanide for free, cyanide total, also MBAS. And we also did something special that's outside this realm is nitrate, nitrite, and milk. And baby powders and such. That's a unique application as well. So the section 147 water quality is the ISO method. So they have a free cyanide 14403 and a total cyanide 14403 as well. So we have some purpose of testing with the chemistries. There's ammonia, nitrogen, and water by automated phenate. That is a big one tested, ammonia and TKN. We have unique application. We're using gas diffusion where you use and eliminate the distillation step. And we have a little bit further information down in the webinar about this. And these are two very big ones that are done, especially TKN and ammonia. Their high concentrations indicate sewage or fertilizer contamination. A lot of fertilizer runoff impacts the water, ground, surface waters, and so those are heavily tested. Your nitrate, nitrogen, and nitrate plus nitrate, nitrogen, those are very big here in the United States and probably around the world as well, since nitrogen and phosphorus are so prevalent in many applications and such. Again, with high levels indicate sewage, fertilizer, or industrial contamination. You'll see that a lot with fertilizer again. And your OFOS and TFOS due to natural erosion, but again, sewage, fertilizer, or industrial contamination. So the two biggest ones around the globe will be your nitrate, nitrite, and your OFOS runoffs. Mentioned total FOS. There's also phenols that are very big as well. Bpa testing, bisphenol A, Bpa is the chemical of concern found in polycarbonate consumer products such as plastic, food, and beverage containers. That's been very big in the plastic water bottles. There's been some unique testing being done and such with regards to BPA, and also the drinking water bottles of kind of bleeding and blanching off. Very hard to test, but we do have an inline distillation phenol method for BPA. And one of the really big things that they want to monitor for are the baby bottles as well, making sure levels with that. So that was quite a few, well, some systems we sold here in the United States for that specific application to make sure that the levels were very low. The measurement is in the part per billion requirement. And so that was one of the big concerns with labs and also with the production of these bottles. So most common pollutants in ground and drinking water. The depletion of groundwater resources and continued decline in overall groundwater quality is a cause of concern because large human population around the world uses groundwater as a source of drinking water. Studies have documented the incidence of groundwater pollution from various anthropogenic activities, such as improper discharge of industrial and municipal wastewater, application of recycled wastewater for irrigation purposes, mobilization facilitated by subsurface geochemistry, Seasonal changes, often making groundwater vulnerable to a variety of pollution from organic and inorganic contaminants. And the seasonal changes are seen quite heavily in the summer and the very hot months, especially with the cyanotoxins. Red tide as well occurs. And a lot of these can be traced back again to fertilizer runoff. So a lot of municipalities like to monitor their water, their surface water, to ensure that there hasn't been like an event, say like a heavy rainstorm with runoff from facilities that get into the water table. And then also too, if there's too much of it, that again is going to cause the cyanotoxins, you're going to have the green pond scum, and you're going to have red tide. And also it's not going to be very good because that's going to have and lead to oxygen deprivation and fish kills. Leading to that, here we talk a little bit about the release of nutrients has resulted in large dead zones. So the Mississippi River Basin runs through the central part of the United States, and all of that is basically farmlands. And so then that gets down into the Gulf of Mexico, and that is when we have the red tide and the dead zones. This is an example from 2007, how it hugged the Louisiana border. So Louisiana especially, that impacts oysters, the fish industry, and then also further a little bit out into the Gulf of Mexico. This is also hurting the coral reefs out there. There's a large coral reef out in the Gulf of Mexico. Oh, I can't remember the name of it. It has a unique name. And that has been decimated and kind of killing off the coral reef. So by measuring these nutrients and such, these help also identify where potentially you're going to have problems. Monitoring big is again your nitrogen family, the ammonia, TKN, OPHOS, and TPHOS. As I mentioned earlier, nitrogen and phosphorus account for about 80% of the analytes measured by ACA instrumentation, and well over half of these analyses are for simple nutrients: ammonia, nitrate, nitrite, and the phosphates. The remainder is total nitrogen and phosphorus, either by Keldol or persulfate digestions, which we offer instrumentation that you can still do a Keldol or a inline digestion with our product. Phosphorus in the environment, it is phosphate that's available to plants and it's used as a fertilizer. It's consumed by algae and potential to cause the algal blooms. Measurement of total phosphorus is important because it can with time convert to bioavailable soluble phosphate. Also, your dishwashing, laundry, and many hand detergents or soap contain phosphorus. The phosphorus content detergent can be as high as 8.7%. And phosphate is a very effective way to improve soap quality, especially in waters that contain high amounts of calcium and magnesium. Then also too, we were kind of discussing, with COVID-19, more people washing their hands and things along those lines. Wonder if there's been a higher content of phosphates in these surface waters and groundwaters with the release of these. Nitrogen is an essential nutrient, as we all know, for plant growth, ranking only behind carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen in total quality needed. The nitrogen fertilizers largely comes from a chemical reaction between nitrogen and hydrogen gas to form ammonia. And ammonia can be then oxidized to form the nitrate. Again, fertilizers are often contain ammonia, nitrate, and or urea as a source of the nitrogen, and organic matter referred to as humic matter, manure, mulch, etc., contains about 5% nitrogen. It's slowly converted to ammonia by bacteria and is eventually oxidized to nitrite, then nitrate. As I mentioned, during a storm event or during irrigation, the nitrate in soil is easily leached off into the runoff and then gets into the water table. Also for nitrates, there is the blue baby syndrome, where if there's too much in the water, it could cause the health concern of blue baby syndrome, as nitrate changes to nitrite in their stomachs, depletes the red blood cells. So nitrogen is water soluble. It's seen in plants and many foods. It's tasteless and odorless. It does not evaporate or bind well to soil. It's used by plants and stays in the water. The nitrate reactions can cause oxygen depletion in water, which may also cause many of the fish kills. Again, a lot of the source of the nitrates are your fertilizers, animal waste, human sewage, decaying plant debris, and industrial waste. So a lot of the drinking water facilities around the country here in the United States, they monitor for free cyanide, nitrate and nitrite nitrogen, nitrate nitrogen, where there's a use of no cadmium reduction, and then also orthophosphates. And these all follow EPA approved. Also, there's a Astm method in there, the OI 1677 for the free cyanide. So there's methods to monitor pollutants, and we'll cover those now. When we provide an instrument, we have these specific methods that we've developed. They follow typically what we'll put: an EPA method, a standard method, ASTM, or ISO. And then we also kind of give the breakdown of what is occurring in this method. So ammonia nitrogen biphenate, EPA 350.1 is one that's commonly used, as well as also ammonia TKM by gas diffusion. This was approved back in 2012 here in the United States. So we use gas diffusion and remove the distillation steps. So no more distillations, acids, your laboratory personnel tied up with that. So we have a little bit further information in the presentation specifically about this one. Also, we include the information a little bit about the method and our run and what our instruments results produce look like. We have available cyanide by ASTM D6888. The cyanides are very big in the wastewater industry. D6888 is very unique in that it also adds a acid reagent that can remove potentially sulfides up to 50 milligrams per liter and break that down. Anything above 50 milligrams per liter, you're going to have to dilute your sample. So if you know you're going to have sulfides and such, this is a fantastic method for that. And then have a little bit, another chapter with some more info on the cyanide. OI 1677, which was developed and approved by the EPA back in 1999, is the available cyanide. And what you do notice that D6888 and 1677 basically mimic each other. The D6888 helps remove that sulfide because there was a ligand there, but with 1677 there is not. And this can be done for free cyanide as well. Again, watch the sulfide interference. You might want to then do D6888 with the ligand addition. CATC and weak acid dissociable also can fall under 1677. So if you're doing any of those methods. And then we have total cyanide by D7511-12. And that is the total cyanide that was approved also in 2012. And this uses UV ultraviolet digestion. which releases the cyanide from the cyanide complexes. We need that along with some stronger acids to break away the cyanide and for bonds. So your total cyanide on the kind of the cyanide analysis chain is sort of way out here on the far side, about where you need vigorous application to help break those bonds. So the ultraviolet UV digestion and also the TA1 and TA2 reagent that we use with that helps break that up. Here is nitrate nitrite, EPA method 353.2. We can do that either by segmented flow or flow injection analysis. And it also follows some standard methods as well. We use the, for the nitrate nitrite nitrogen, we use the cadmium column. And then when you want to do nitrite by itself, you can undo the cadmium column and perform the analysis without that. Also, if you wanted to do by subtraction, you could have the nitrate nitrite, you could have two of these set up, one without the cadmium reduction reactor, and then you also then do the subtraction from that. And then more info on that. Phenol inline distillation. We can do both inline and post-distillation phenol as well with this. And then there's the post-distillation. Phosphorus, again, which is really big, we do phosphorus all forms where you can configure the application to do both orthophosphate or total phosphate by changing up the plumbing with that. I don't know. Why that window's coming back again. I apologize. We've never had this problem before with this window popping up. I don't know what's causing this. I'll definitely be contacting our technical support team to ask them what this is all about. My apologies for this window coming up again. I'll try to move everything away. So again, we have the phosphate all forms, and also we have low level phosphorus. This is used a lot with drinking water facilities. Say for instance, it's very popular where you have to have constant reuse of your water, especially in dry, arid conditions. Clark County, Nevada is a big proponent of this one because they are constantly recycling their water out in the desert there in Nevada, Las Vegas, since they use Lake Mead as their surface water. Okay, and so here are some new chemistries that we've just launched. The total dissolved nitrogen by segmented flow analysis. This is the method that where dissolved nitrogen compounds are converted to nitrate by persulfate oxidation and subsequent UV digestion in a caustic solution of boric acid. Nitrate is reduced quantitatively to nitrite by the cadmium reduction column, and the nitrite is diazotized with sulfinaminide and subsequently coupled with N1 and -1 diaphthol. This reaction takes place in an acidic solution. The resulting highly colored azo dye is colorimetrically detected at 540 nanometers. Little breakdown of what we're doing. This is one of our newer ones, also a little bit more complex chemistry, and it's uses a dialysis method and also UV digestion. Then we have total phosphorus by inline UV persulfate digestion as well. And this method utilizes the standard method, and also there is an ISO method as well. And this follows with flow injection. We use UV digestion with these methods, and so it was kind of put together with the knowledge that we had from the UV digestion with our total cyanide D7511 method. Okay, we're going to then delve a little bit, as I mentioned, in cyanide and ammonia by gas diffusion. OI and then Alchem prior was known for a lot of cyanide analysis with no distillation. So you're moving the distillation step, you're removing the caustic acids, and then the time that it does take to do that distillation step with our gas diffusion. So from our models 3202 to the 3000, 3100 to the FS 3000, 3700, the Alchem OI Analytical are the innovators in cyanide analysis. A really good reference material that I like to use is the ASTM D2036 standard test methods for cyanides in water. That lists, as you can see, all the different ASTM standards and methods available for the cyanide. It does list the D6888. It does have the D7511 in there. And this helps you learn a little bit about the cyanide tests and such, and then also kind of breaks down that D6888 where we talked about the ligand displacement with your high amounts of sulfide if it's in the sample. D7365 is another ASTM method that is fantastic in the standard practice for sampling, preservation, and mitigating interferences in water analysis for the analysis of cyanide. And in D6888, it does talk about how you can mitigate like the sulfide. Also, it does list D7511, has OI 1677 in there as well with some info on the sampling and preservation of the samples that you're gathering. And these can be purchased from the ASTM website. So as I mentioned before, here's the cyanides methods by the species of cyanide. So your free cyanide is going to be the weak to mildly strong metal complexes. These are going to be easily able to be broken apart. Your available cyanide, you get a little bit more into needing to use the ligand exchange reagents that we provide, the WAD-A, WAD-B. And then finally, when you get out to the total cyanide, that's your strong metal complexes that's going to require the UV digestion with our lamp, and then also the TA1, TA2 acids. So a little bit quickly on cyanide. Free cyanide refers to the sum of the HCN and CN ion in a sample. Free cyanide is bioavailable and about 1,000 times more toxic to aquatic organisms than it is to humans. The weak to moderately strong metal cyanide complexes are compounds that dissociate and release ACN under mildly acidic conditions. WAD-CATC and WAD-OA1677 and also the D688 methods were developed to quantify available cyanide. These methods measure the weak and mildly strong metal cyanide complexes plus the free cyanide. Then your strong metal cyanide complexes require strongly acidic conditions to dissociate and release hydrogen cyanide gas. Strong metal cyanide species include complexes of iron, cobalt, and platinum group metals. The EPA method defined total cyanide D7511 includes the strong metal cyanides, weak to moderately strong metal cyanides, and free cyanide. The EPA defined total cyanide does not include thiocyanate or organic cyanides. So just again, real quick, a breakdown of the methods that we provide: the OA1677 available cyanide by the ligand exchange and flow injection analysis. And kind of give a breakdown a little bit of what's happening throughout that. It's covered in EPA's Clean Water Act, Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, Comprehensive Environmental Response, Compensation Liability Act, and Safe Drinking Water Act. With our methods, I wanted to share, we do give you sort of like a little bit of a guide to running these applications. We show you the chemistry plate, notes with the pump speed, the sample loop bypass, the pump tubes, the detector, part numbers and components and everything, and set up for that. Here's D688 that we've talked a little bit about before. Cyanide is a known interference and can be eliminated by use of a complexing agents described in D68804 prior to the gas diffusion process that prevent hydrogen sulfide from diffusing. The reagent that we're talking about is the Ta2SAR. And here's a little breakout of that. Again, you're adding an additional pump tube for that application. And then here's our total cyanide. We use narrow band, low watt UV irradiation to decompose cyanide complexes in samples at ambient temperature in a continuously flowing acidic stream. Reducing and complexing reagents combined with ambient temperature UV digestion minimizes the formation of matrix interferences. Elimination of sample distillation steps enables the measurement of cyanide at lower concentrations with improved precision. So this also allows you lower labor costs because you're not using the acids anymore. You're not have the lower cost per analysis for the reagents and consumables needed. It eliminates the analysis exposure to hazardous boiling reagents, your boiling concentrated sulfuric acid and pyridine, plus also the waste that you have to pay for the disposal of those. Then also too, we do have a very nice application note white paper that we had written with regards to total cyanide and analysis of Mpds wastewater samples by the Astm 7511-09E2. That was the original launch in 2012, and then it's a -12 now. And this paper covers critical application that we've been talking about with wastewater applications. Then the kind of the breakdown. So cyanide's a little bit more complex. Below this analytical plate is where your UV lamp is stored. So the sample then goes under, passes through that UV lamp, then comes back up, where it then goes into our gas diffusion module and then on to our cyanide flow cell. And again, a little bit more information with regards to, we provide all the information with the pump speed, the sample loop and such. We also like to include consumables per chemistry as well with our methods and give you the info of most commonly used spare components and parts that you need. So finally, we'll talk a little bit about the ammonia. That method update rule passed in January of 2012, modified 40 CFR Part 136 and allows for diffusion in place of distillation for the analysis of ammonia. And this is one of our most popular chemistries as well. Total cyanide and ammonia TKN by gas diffusion are some of our biggest sellers because, again, you get to eliminate the distillation step in this whole process. So we use the continuous flow automated diffusion that passes ammonia through a hydrophobic membrane into an absorber solution that is automatically color developed and measured by the continuous flow analyzer. Gas diffusion eliminates the need again for the distillation. This allows facilities with Mpds permits to use gas diffusion to test wastewater samples for TKN ammonia and the Clean Water Act compliance reporting. We also have an application note white paper for the analysis of TKN and ammonia and Mpds wastewater samples by gas diffusion that we wrote upon the release of this. So again, the benefits, as we can say, is you get higher sample throughput, lower labor costs, lower cost per analysis for the reagents and consumables, eliminates analysis exposure to hazardous reagents, boiling concentrated base reagents, TKN, or boiling borate buffer solutions for ammonia. You're able to analyze both ammonia and TKN using a single chemistry cartridge with the same reagents. We do recommend using separate calibrations that match the sample matrix though. Here's a example of the ammonia gas diffusion module for the ammonia TKN. This is the diffusion module, and then there's a membrane that you replace over time, inserted in the middle of that. So very easy to get to and maintain. And then this is the gas diffusion module for the cyanides with the OIA 1677, D6888, and D7511. Again, very easy to get to and maintain. The membrane is there in the middle of the component there. We have a little latch that you lift up, you can replace the membrane. With gas diffusion, you can say farewell to macro distillation and MIDI distillations. So that was just a quick rundown of some of the most popular ones that we do, the cyanides and the ammonia TKN. So here's the analytical xylem technology that we offer. And this is going to go a little bit over the 3700. So this is our model FS 3700. It was an advanced continuous flow design analyzer to improve laboratory productivity by automating wet chemistry test procedures. It offers you the flexibility and analytical capability to meet your needs. It's very plug and play. It offers high sample throughput, low cost of ownership, robust technologies to meet the demands of every sample matrix. We've got excellent precision and accuracy with this, regulatory compliance to ASTM, US EPA, standard methods, and ISO methods. Some of the features are we've got the automated injection valve installed in the analysis module chassis when required to run a flow injection analysis via method. Each of our chemistry cartridges is pre-assembled with all the components needed to perform and validated analysis method. Just attach the pump tubing and detector flow cell. Ordering the channel provides a convenient way to configure the 3700. Again, we talk about modularity, flexible hardware, provides a great platform for resource, in-house or proprietary methods. We use the inline devices for reactions requiring heating or UV digestion, mounted on the other side of the chemistry cartridges. In this case here, in this photo, here is the UV digestion lamp. Now, also too, one of the big things about our product and what we like to make known is that Our product has no electronics under the instrument, and so there's a well under there. So all the electronics are in the back of the instrument, so you don't have to worry about a leak detector or leak detection. None of our chemistry plates or channels run over any electronics. We have the photometric detector for the colorimetric chemistries, and the ampermetric detector is specific to the cyanide chemistries. We've got features with a 24-channel pump, our flow injection valves, our chemistry channels and cartridges, and then our unique detectors. So in this setup right here, what you're seeing is a cyanide run and then a colorimetric run. So this could typically be the total cyanide and then your ammonia TKN in the background back there. One of the strengths of the instrument is newly designed friendly interface. From our prior software, we have now FlowView. It's Windows 10 Pro compatible, 32, 64-bit. Also, the instrument connects via USB. It can be run from a computer or a laptop as well. And here's a listing of all the popular chemistries that we can offer. The chemistries available. So we do a best fit for either segmented flow or for flow injection. And you get to see a top view of the chemistry plates as well, photometric detection and ampermetric detection. We offer a 180 position auto sampler or a 360 position. The 180 is the most common and is most commonly quoted as well. It offers two 90 position racks or two 60 position racks. We've got a 10 position standards rack with it as well. Wrench station, onboard peristaltic pump, and sample probe kit come standard with it. Our Ispatec 24-channel pump. This is where you can hook up the multicolored pump tubes on this. The roller heads gently rotate around the tubing material. Compression of the rollers, cams on the peristaltic tubing acts like a check valve in the pump, keeping liquid flowing smoothly in one direction and offering repeatable and consistent flow with each revolution. Breakdown of the platen. We have the platen extender, platen and tension lever, and this is an example of a pump tube. They just fit right here with these platen extenders and connect right in. We have a multitude of pump tubes. Here's the most common, and then also the internal diameter and the flow at 40% milliliters per minute. Examples of ammonia setup: you'd have orange, green for your air injection, you'd have gray, gray, you'd have yellow, yellow for your sample line pump, black, black for the debubbler pull, and orange, yellow. With the ammonia TKM, we do segmented flow. So there's a debubbler flow pull. So you're going to have with segmented, you're going to have the segmented bubbles in between sample and then segmented bubble for slugs. And so before the sample enters into the photometric detector, we have a device, the debubbler, that eliminates those before that enters into the detector and lamp. What's in a channel? Everything needed to perform analysis is included. We offer the FIA valve, the chemistry plate, the detector, ampermetric or photometric, dependent upon the chemistry you're running. And our cartridges include all the gas diffusion manifolds, heaters, or UV lamps as needed, all pump tubing, all the other tubing, and chemistry kit. So when you get something right out of the box, you're ready to run a sample. And here's a cutaway view of like our photometric setup. This is a colorimetric application, the FIA valve if it's required, our chemistry plate with the mixing coils, air mixing tees. In this case, it is a segmented flow. There's the debubbler I mentioned about before entry into the photometric detector. We get the bubble out, and then that then flows into the detector. Our photometric detector includes the filter specific for the chemistry. Easy access. Our lamp is right up here on top. Remove some set screws. You can replace that. So again, we design the unit for, again, ease of getting to the components, flexibility of replacing components, and then changing out cartridges. And this is in regards to an cyanide or an ampermetric detection application. We use flow injection for each cyanide method. So if via valve comes standard, we've got our chemistry plate with the mixing tees. Here's our gas diffusion module. And then there's our ampermetric flow cell with the reference electrode. So with our ampermetric detector, which is cyanide specific, it's one of the best ampermetric detectors on the market. And we further refined to reduce baseline noise. It's not a third-party detector. We make this ourselves. The improved cell design and upgraded electronics gives you better response. It's made up of a reference electrode, a working electrode, and a counter electrode, which closes the loop. And this is the reference electrode, which is a consumable part. It then goes into the flow cell here. Here's an example of the flow cell. With our photometric detector, you have a 10x increase in signal to noise for some of the photometric detectors. We improved detection limits from our prior models. We have MDLs down to the low ppb range. The limitation is the flow noise now. We do have such a broad range of detection. You do not need to have an autodiluter. We will be introducing an autodiluter for the FS3700 later in this year because a lot of people like to use the diluter to make your stock standards and such, or also to, in case you do have samples that absolutely require that. So the benefit of using a wide range detector lies in the high sensitivity. Because of its sensitivity, it can detect very small changes in the signal without increasing the gain. This allows us to detect very low concentration. It also can detect high peak levels extremely accurately in the same run without topping out. So here's a close-up of the photometric detector with our lamp and then also our flow cell. The standard flow cell size is the 5mm. We do offer 10 and 20 millimeter. 20 is used for the low level phosphorus, and then also we do have a 10. We did make a 15 because a unique cyanide method required a 15mm standard flow cell. So basically, we are very flexible in providing and designing unique applications as well. So the sample stream flows through the detector required for the chemistry. As the sample flows through, you'll see a peak rise on the graph through our FlowView software. After the sample passes through, the peak will settle back to baseline until the next sample begins to flow through the flow cell. Peak is compared to the calibration curve, and a result is calculated against the curve. Here's again a little bit of a breakdown of the detector down below where the nanometer filter and housing is. Our flow cells, again, mentioning our different sizes that we have available. And so again, this is where everything coalesces. The results of sample collection, reagent preparation, and instrument operation come together to produce the final analytical conclusions. The FS3700 detector design allows for the flow cell windows to be removed. You can clean them, replace them if required without a costly replacement of the entire flow cell. We've also done refinements in our detector with expanded range by, we had previously used like a 10-port valve and found that the 8-port valve plumbed to utilize a bypass loop equal to size and injection loop while in loaded position, alleviated pressure differential and reduced detector noise related to the valve actuation. So we've done some kind of unique updates and upgrades to our product to help give you better reproducible results. Our FlowView software, kind of based a little bit like a kind of easy kind of app application. Configure the analyzer, build the method, build your sample table, run your samples, view results, and we also have a perform maintenance screen as well with this. The FlowView software is 32-bit. It can work with Windows Pro 7, 8, or 10 Pro. We do recommend Windows 10. Performs dynamic auto scaling, keeping analyte peaks on scale over large dynamic range, 3 to 4 orders of magnitude. It allows for viewing and editing results in real time. There's also easy limbs import-export configuration, and you can reprioritize or edit the sample table on the fly during analysis in case you do have, say, for instance, emergency samples come in. FlowView launcher, where you set up the instrument, you bring on the instrument, entering the serial number of the product, configuring the COM port. We have the configure the analyzer. This is where you can configure your pump, run speed time, the valves, enable, disable valves, channel, you choose your channel in the chemistry. Here you can enable and disable the UV digestion lamp, heater, detectors, and then also the sampler where you choose them between your either 180 position or 360 position sampler. The FlowView build method is laid out nicely where it's divided into 4 sections that allows you to define the method and calibration parameters. We have a calibration table, the calibration, signals and peak mixing, and quality control. In the calibration table and calibration, you define the concentration ID for all the calibration standards. In calibration, highlight a channel, then choose a curve, fitting method, and concentration units. In peak and signal and peak marking and quality control, you can configure peak quantitation, height, or area, baseline handling, smoothing, and seek peak identification parameters. Quality control requirements that can be set individually for up to 13 different quality control sample types. You can build the sample table. This screen allows the user to define the sequence of samples to be analyzed. And then you run samples. Open the run sample screen to control the sample sequence and monitor data as it's collected. You can see either channel 1 or channel 2 as well during the run. You can display the different channels as mentioned. You can view the calibration curve for a channel during a run. You can press the view calibration. You can do the view results. You can find the calibration equation and calculate a value for the standard. Exit the screen and reopen window for the latest information on the calibration curve for the run in progress. You can press the All Channels button to display a split screen view of the detector signal and sample peaks. We have the review results screen to review results. Results may be viewed from active or completed sequence. And here we break down where you can click on the configuration, the methods. This is the calibration results. There's the sample table. Your channel 1 or your channel 2 can be chosen. You can export results. Here's the export results feature that you can click of the different pieces or parameters you'd like to have in your export. And then we also have the maintenance screen, as I mentioned, that allows the user to view information and test the operation of all components attached to the 3700 from this single screen. Provides real-time information on raw detector outputs, via valve operation, your UV lamps, heaters, and other devices attached. We also have a self-test built-in within FlowView as well. A few of the additional features that we offer: sample table import from CSV file. We have a full screen GUI on the computer for you to see the full screen and breakout of the runs. You have the ability to pause and resume the run between samples and emergency samples capability. And we also offer multi-languages support. So the FlowView comes in English, Chinese, French, and Spanish. And so we'll close out with, again, just a quick review of our methods and availability. We have all the different cyanides that you can do, your availables, totals, and we still also too, if clients still have to follow, say for instance, the distillation step, there is still the EPA method 335.4, that's the post-distillation cyanide, we offer that. Our ammonia TKN, the ammonia 350.1, the TKN 350.2, ammonia phenate if you need to run that by 350.1, nitrate by 353.2. We have phosphorus all forms that you can use EPA 3651 and 3654. Also low-level phosphorus, which follows 365.1. Then we have the phenol, inline, and post-distillation phenol. We also have chloride and the total nitrogen and total phosphorus by UV digestion following the standard methods. So with that, that concludes the presentation. Ran over just a couple of minutes, so my apologies. If you have any questions or such, you could put that in the chat, or we could follow up with email questions as well and respond through our good friends here, and also with Giovanna.
Thank you, Han. Estamos en tiempo para responder un par de preguntas. Les suplicamos que utilicen la sección de preguntas y respuestas de Zoom o a través del chat. Hace unos momentos hubo una persona que levantó la mano. No sé si era alguna pregunta, comentario. Lo puede hacer en este momento. Yo lo leo y Han nos ayuda respondiendo, traduciéndolo al inglés. No veo preguntas en el chat. Y en la sección de preguntas y respuestas tampoco veo preguntas. Bien, I have a couple of questions, Hank, that maybe you can help us to understand. You mentioned several chemistries, and that each chemistry need to be done by a dedicated channel. How easy is to change, or if this system need to be configured in the production, or it could be changed at the site, at the customer site?
What we do is we test the instrument in-house and then build the components and channels, and can then be installed in the field. So it ships, and then with the channels and such, the feed valves are attached and things, and then you then just attach your chemistry plates, pump tubes, make up the reagents and such, and then you can start running the unit.
Okay, but the system need to be sent as dedicated chemistry.
Yes. Currently, yes. We configure it per the chemistry choice or selection. We don't have sort of like currently sort of like research channels. I know a long time ago with one of the products we used to sell, we had research cartridges where it would ship a whole kit of a whole bunch of different pump tubes and things to use. No, on the FS3700 currently everything is a configured channel or configured cartridge.
Okay, thank you. No veo más preguntas, comentarios. Sí hay una pregunta aquí. Nos preguntan, as you can see in the question and answer section, when the sample is wastewater, do you recommend any pre-treatment to the sample?
Yes. would definitely filter out any particulates through that. Since this is microflow technology, they could, the tubing and other kind of components, especially going through, you kind of don't want particulates or such flowing through. So yes, so there would be sort of like a filtering prior.
Okay, thank you. ¿Alguna pregunta adicional? Melissa pregunta acerca de costos y consumibles para análisis de muestras. ¿Tienen sugerencias de fabricantes? I will translate it. Melissa is asking about the cost and the consumables for each sample. How can you, trying to answer, how can you compare the uses of these automatic chemistry analyzers versus the traditional wet chemistry methods?
The consumables most likely going to be used would be the pump tubes. We recommend those being changed out once a month. We do have availability with 12-pack to sell. Also, we have tubing kits that are made specific to the chemistry that can be purchased. There is, with the ammonia TKN, there would be, in the cyanides, there'd be the membrane that goes in the diffusion module. That would be changed out over time as well. We do have a breakout of most common consumables in each method for you, and then also made a comprehensive consumables listing. I have that sort of like in US dollar, but could work with Giovanna and provide with her where she could get the pricing for you and such put into that. So the pump tubes are not very, the 12 packs are not very expensive and such, and the other components. So not very costly. We did make a cost analysis spreadsheet one time too. So if something's really needed like that, we could work with Giovanna and such and put one of those together.
Okay, thank you, Han. Para Melissa, I will add some information to this question in Spanish. Cuando hacemos una comparación, Melissa, de los costos en inglés, perdón, en el sistema automatizado y los métodos en vía húmeda, depende del número de muestras, pero cuando las muestras ya empiezan a ser más número de muestras, los costos se reducen dramáticamente porque la cantidad de reactivo y la cantidad de desecho es muy baja por muestra. Entonces sí puede llegar a ser a representar un ahorro muy importante en el costo por muestra. Sí hay sugerencias, como lo mencionaba Han, el poder determinar el número de muestras y ya decir, bueno, cada tantas muestras o una vez al mes hay que cambiar tubería de la bomba, tal vez alguna membrana de difusión, dependiendo de los métodos. There's another question. What do you recommend for samples with high fats like 800 ppm? Teresa, ¿podría ser más específica? ¿Qué tipo de muestras son las que estás considerando? ¿Son muestras de agua residual? Para la pregunta en la que hablas de grasas altas, no sé si pudieras ayudarnos a clarificarlo. ¿Te refieres a agua residual con grasa? Ok. Han, Maria Teresa is asking about samples that has a high grease, high fats content, like 800 ppm, wastewater samples.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recommend any pre-treatment for these samples?
That's a good question. I don't think that's necessary. But I did see that in chat, and we could look into that a little further with samples with high fats, like 800 ppm. So if you like, what we could do is dig a little bit deeper into that and get a response back to you guys through email and such. I am not sure. I have not seen something like fats in a question before. So let us do that a little bit better.
Hank, I'm wondering if Tim can assist with a question. I know he's on the participant panel. I wonder if he can hear us. Maybe he could provide some more information.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Ya, Teresa, si nos puedes apoyar con un poquito más de información, incluso nos lo puedes enviar por correo, porque nos interesa saber, ya entendí el tipo de matriz, pero también es necesario saber qué componentes son los que necesitas monitorear y ya de esa manera poder hacer una propuesta para determinar si es necesario hacer algún tipo de pretratamiento. Han, Giovanna, Maria Teresa is asking about some food process wastewater, but I am asking her about what compounds she's asking for. I am
A little
asking,
bit more details on the sample matrix would be very helpful. And we can pass that question on to our application specialist that can provide some comments on that.
Okay, thank you, Giovanna. Sí, Teresa, entonces por favor nos envías por correo electrónico tu pregunta sobre, necesitamos saber la matriz lo más completo que puedas y qué compuestos son los que te interesa monitorear para revisar tu pregunta. Con gusto lo hacemos. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? Terminamos nuestra... Sí, ok, en el chat nos están comentando un poquito más sobre los métodos estándar. Okay, if there is not more questions, I will finish this presentation, this seminar. I thank you, Hank, Giovanna, for your help for this information you share with us. Thank you everybody. Muchas gracias a todos. Gracias por su participación. Les reitero que pueden enviar sus preguntas a través de correo electrónico por los mensajes que les llegan con el registro para que podamos hacérselas llegar a los especialistas y con gusto les compartimos las respuestas. Que tengan muy buen día. Thank you everybody. Have a very good day. Thank you.
Thank you very much to everyone. Have a wonderful day.